My name is Christina Freeman. I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I met Dr. Vincent through a friend of mine who told me about his excellent classes and just all the great work he's doing in healing people in the community. And I suffered with high blood pressure for over 10 years on the same medications for about 10 years. And I was introduced to the HemoHim, which has been heaven sent. I have blood pressure of 167, sometimes 185 over 122. And just in a matter of 2 days of taking the HemoHim, my blood pressure has went down to 122 over 82. And from that, I was convinced that I just need to continue following the techniques and the lessons that Dr. Vincent has been just sharing with people around the world and continuing on this awesome product.
My name is Gwen Humphrey. I currently live in Tennessee, and I actually met Dr. Vincent through Ben El Bay probably about 6 years ago. And so my testimony is this. I've been following Dr. Vincent and actually through a couple of ventures, but just recently, I hadn't talked to Dr. Vincent, but I called him about the Go Live Life products, and I didn't hear back from him right away. But during this time that I'm waiting for a response to Dr. Vincent, my dad, who is actually 84 years old, received my product because I was out of town, and he started taking it. He was taking both the Balance, the Detox, and the powder supplement. But he didn't really tell me that he was not taking his medication, that he had been on 12 different medications. He's been a diabetic for over 50 years. He's had prostate issues, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and he also self-catheterized every morning. And so he had gotten tired of taking all those medications. So that's what he said. He just stopped taking them. And so in the meantime, he started taking the Go Love Life products. And by the time he had been taking them for about 3 weeks, we had a nephrologist appointment, and the nephrologist was going through his med list and asking him which ones he was taking. And he was constantly saying, no, I'm not taking that. No, I'm not taking that. And it was about, out of 12, he was probably taking about 5 of them. But the nephrologist indicated that the last test that he got, his results, his blood pressure was 127 over 82. So he took him off of the majority of the medication because he no longer needed them. So out of the 12 medications, he took him off of 8. So my dad has since still taken the products. He is full of energy because he used to sit on the couch. I lost my mom Christmas Eve, and he's just been normally just sitting on the couch doing nothing from dark 30 to dark 30. So since taking the Go Love Life products, he is full of energy. He beats me up in the morning sometimes, and he's active. And I just feel so blessed that, we found these products. So then I sent that testimonial to Dr. Vincent, and the rest is history.
My name is Marilyn Diane Turnipseed, and I live in Pontiac, Michigan. And when I first met Dr. Vincent, a friend of mine, Nadine in Chicago, invited me to a conference call. And I was, so I did participate in the call. And it was very interesting. And also he had requested that I would send him a picture of my face. And so I took a selfie and I sent it to him. And he texted me back and let me know different things that were going on in my body just by looking at my face. And everything he said was correct. So I was really intrigued. I wanted to find out, more about what he was doing, And then I had an opportunity to meet with him over to one of the other young ladies' house where they normally have the meetings. And he also proceeded to do a couple of tests on me to find out what was going on in my body. And the first one he did was, to test the strength of my arm, and it was very weak. And then, so he just did a few little tapping, on my body, and and then it was strengthened. Next time he did it, the arm was really, really strong, and this was only a matter of a few seconds. And so I was really intrigued. And anyway, so he did the Iterate Care device on me to also find out some other things that were going on in my body, and it was correct, totally correct. And so since then, I've been just really, really participating and learning so much. And I also was introduced to the vibration water. Now, I had lymphedema in my legs for over 40-something years, and I've been running back and forth to the doctors, and they really didn't know a lot of what to do. With the physical therapy or the garments and different things like that. But I still had the problems. And then, excuse me. And then I had my knees were also born on bones, so I had to have a knee replacement on my left knee in 2017. And then after that, I say about a year, that's when the fluid, I believe it was fluid, this will start filling up in my upper thigh. Because before then, it was just the swelling would never go past my knees. But after I had ended up getting the knee surgery, that's when the fluid or growth or whatever it is started coming up to my right thigh. And it was huge, at least about 3 sizes. And anyway, the doctors couldn't understand what was going on or why that happened. And they didn't want to continue to do the surgery on the next knee, which I didn't want more cutting done on me anyway after that. Because with lymphedema, you're really not supposed to get any kind of cuts or anything because it will keep bringing cellulitis. So that's why they didn't want to continue to do the surgery on the right knee, because it will keep getting the infections. So I just had to just deal with it. But anyway, after I met Dr. Vincent, and I found out about the vibration water, so I started taking the vibration water, and I started seeing some immediate results. This left leg has gone all the way down and my feet normally would swell so much I would have to go get like a size 13 or 14 men's shoe, like a house shoe or whatever it was. And then I would still have to add a piece to it just so my foot couldn't fit in that shoe, so I can, get in and out of the house. But anyway, I saw this left leg went all the way down. Even my shoes, I could fit in also a woman's size 11 shoe. I tried my foot on and that one, and it fitted a woman's shoe, a size 11. And also I lost 26.8 pounds within 2 weeks from just drinking the vibration water and also doing the coffee enema and the ENOC treatment. And my right leg, it feels so much better now, even though I hadn't had the knee replacement on this side. It's like my knees feel like they have been restored totally. My legs are strengthened. My skin and my legs and feet were really, really dark. But since I've been spraying the vibration water on them, I noticing the coloration is getting lighter, and it's not shedding as much as it was. I mean, it was shedding every day, almost like snake skin. But anyway, the peeling has not been as bad as it was. And as a matter of fact, yesterday was the first day I walked down the basement stairs in 2 years. I had not been downstairs in our basement. Yesterday, I got a chance to walk down those stairs because I haven't been my knees haven't been in the pain that they were had been being in. So I'm like, wow, something awesome is really, really going on in my body. And it's been just within a matter of a couple of weeks. And I'm just so grateful for the products that have been working really well in my body.
My name is Therese Belt. I met Dr. Vincent in October, and I was letting him know that I had been sick for 40 years. I was born in 1962 with an undetected heart defect, and it played havoc on my body. My body was starting to shut down. I was living in California, where I'm at right now, and I've had several surgeries. And I've had approximately seven organs removed. And they were still trying to find out what was going on with my body. I was in a lot of pain. I met Dr. Vincent 6 weeks before my 31st surgery, and many, many doctors later. The doctors could not fix me. Only thing that they could do was give me surgery and cut out what they couldn't fix. And as time went on, I just got sicker and sicker and more pain. My 31st surgery, Dr. Vincent was doing an Enoch treatment on me, something I had never heard of before, but I was willing to try anything because I did not want to have this surgery. And every surgery that I've had, except for 3, were surgeries that they said I had to have or I was going to die. And here I was again, where all my numbers were dropping. My worst number was one of the products that you need in your body. Mine was dropping so low, and it messes with your heart. It shuts down your muscles, and your heart is your biggest muscle. So it was shutting my heart down. Dr. Vincent was working on getting rid of the problem. The problem was I had a hiatal hernia along with a stricture around my stomach, which was causing my stomach to be in an hourglass. I couldn't keep any food down. I was throwing up all the time. Anything that did go down came out within a half an hour of eating it. And I had massive diarrhea. I was just super sick. And after Dr. Vincent's Enoch treatment and lots of prayer, all my churches were praying. I was on everybody's prayer list. And between God and Dr. Vincent, they were able to move that stricture down. And what had happened is the doctors took a CT scan, and they went in and looked with the camera. So they knew how big the problem was. But when they went in there the day of surgery, because I had to do the surgery because we couldn't get enough stomach to prevent the surgery. So I had the surgery. When they went in, and the doctors woke me up the next day. They told me that the stricture had moved down and they were able to save my stomach because their plan was to cut the stomach out like everybody else, cut the organ out, throw it away. She doesn't need it, but actually I do. And because of Dr. Vincent and God, they were able to save my stomach because the stricture was moved down far enough to where they were just cutting off a little part of my stomach, and they were able to save the rest. So the treatment actually worked. My problems that I have, they finally found my problem in 2010 when I was dying, and they were able to save my life again. And I have 3 different heart diseases: high blood pressure, leaky gut, insomnia, hyperglycemia, IBS, just to name a few. So my body was in tremendous amount of pain. After Dr. Vincent did his Enoch treatment up in Riverside in LA, or near LA, we went to bed that night, and it was my husband, myself, and my sister in the hotel room. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I went to the bathroom, and I peed out a bunch of white foam, something I had never done before. And I thought it was strange, but I was also tired, and I went back to sleep. And then when I got up in the morning, my husband had already left the room, and my sister and I were talking, and I was telling her something's wrong with my body, and I don't know what it is. And she asked me several questions, trying to figure out what could be wrong with my body. And I told her, I don't feel sick. I just don't feel normal. Something is wrong. And after us talking for a good half hour or so, I was finally able to figure out what was wrong, what my problem was, and it wasn't a problem. What the problem was is that I felt no pain. I had been in pain for 40 years. I didn't know what it felt like to not have pain. I had no idea. And just to understand the Enoch treatment and the benefits, it just amazed me. I was in awe that I had no pain for the first time in 40 years. Dr. Vincent and God worked on my body together. They were able to save my stomach, do a gastric bypass because of everything that was going on inside of me. And Dr. Vincent has been helping me ever since. He even did an Enoch treatment on me when I came home from the hospital from having surgery. And I didn't have to take pain pills because the Enoch treatments worked. Also doing the fascia worked. And I have been able to help many friends from what I've learned from Dr. Vincent to get out of pain. So I just want to praise God. I thank you, Dr. Vincent, for listening to God. And I know that once I finish my, or start my next program, which is my Hemo Hymn and my Nomi, that my body's going to get back to normal. It feels good to walk around without pain. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Tahira Lumpkin Stevens. I live in Conyers, Georgia, which is about 15 minutes east of downtown Atlanta. I met Dr. Vincent, this amazing man, over a Zoom call in September of 2021. Some friends of mine called me and said, Tahira, you got to get on this Zoom call. Dr. Vincent is amazing, and you got to get on the call. I'm like, who is Dr. Vincent? I didn't know him from anyone. They said, oh, he's helping people. And they know I'm in a wheelchair, and I've been in a wheelchair for quite some time. And my vision and belief and knowing is that I'm going to get up and walk. I'm going to leave this wheelchair behind. So I got on the Zoom call, and I saw this man talking with people over the phone. He had some people on a table he was working with, and they were being helped, and pain was leaving in a matter of minutes, and, just over the phone remotely. And I was like, who is this man? And finally, they got him to acknowledge me, and I gave him a little bit about myself, and he had me do some tapping, and I tried my best to do it, but my arms and hands and fingers are not operating as designed, so it's difficult to do it. I told him, he said, what do you feel? What's your pain now? What do you feel now? And I said, I don't feel any difference. So he told me, I'll be in Atlanta in 3 weeks, and I want to see you. So I said, okay. So I did a lot of shuffling and moving to make that happen. So in October, early October, he was down by the airport in Atlanta, and I got there. And when I came in, I had to have an assistant, to drive me, rent a van, help me get there. And so when I came in, and he was working with someone, and then he asked me to come up, and he asked me what had happened. So I told him about in a 1993 car accident I was in, where I was rear-ended at a high rate of speed on the Schuylkill Expressway in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it was rush hour traffic. I was on my way to a business meeting, and traffic came to a halt where I could stop because I don't drive right up on cars. And I looked at my rearview mirror, and the gentleman behind me wasn't paying attention, and I knew he was going to hit me. And he did. I was doing about 75. He was probably doing 65, 70. And he slammed into the back of me. And traffic was at a stop. We hopped out and exchanged information. And I noticed I felt an internal shaking. Never felt anything like it before. My hands were shaking, but inside of me, I could feel it was like my bones, my blood, and everything in me was quivering and shaking. So I got back in the car quickly, got off at the next exit, which was my exit, it was right there, and went to the nearest police station, did a police report, and canceled my appointment, went home and went to bed. Well, the next morning, I woke up, I was in excruciating pain from head to toe. I hurt so bad, everything hurt. So I had to call a friend to help me get to a doctor's office. I didn't go to the hospital, I'm healthy. I don't get colds, I don't have headaches, I'm healthy. And I felt after the accident, I'm like, I'll just go home and rest and it'll be okay. Well, it wasn't okay. And so I got to a doctor's office. He sent me for x-rays and, the regular routine, clinical exams. And he eventually sent me to a orthopedic doctor, because I immediately began to limp on my right side. Never had a limp before. I was perfectly healthy, normal, and I began to limp on my right side. And so he began sending me to orthopedics, and then MRIs, and then neurologists, physical therapy, and I began seeing doctors. And, I noticed my balance got a little off, and I began seeing doctors. I had great med pay on my car insurance. It was $500,000. And I was seeing the best doctors, University of Penn, Hahnemann University, which is a women's university in Philadelphia. I went to Johns Hopkins University to see the best doctor there, and New York, the university there. And, just everybody. I began seeing Reiki specialists and acupuncturist, acupressure, and everything anyone told me, because I was looking to get back to my life, which I always knew I'm going to walk again, get my balance back. This is temporary. And eventually, it just deteriorated. It was a slow deterioration. And I moved to Atlanta. My daughter had moved here with her job with AT&T, and she needed help. She was leaving a bad marriage, had just had a baby. So I came down to Atlanta to help her and for her to help me. We were helping each other because I could no longer work. I was working and doing well for myself, but couldn't do it anymore because I couldn't carry product. I couldn't walk well, and it was deteriorating. So I moved to Atlanta, began seeing doctors here, Emory University, Northside University, Dr. Payne, Dr. Sanchez, all the best doctors, they say, are here. And I began seeing chiropractors, alternative doctors, because I was getting nowhere. All the doctors said there's no reason you shouldn't walk, and there's no reason you shouldn't walk. Anyway, one of the chiropractors I saw was an applied kinesiologist, and he got me out of pain because I was in pain in my neck. I held my head down because it hurt to hold it up. And then my low back radiated pain to my knees. And he was the first and only doctor that really got me out of pain. He was an applied kinesiologist, and he told me things that had happened to me that I hadn't shared with him. And I was like, who is this man? Anyway, this man was very special. Ended up, after, I guess, 8 or 9 months of seeing him 3 days a week, he asked me to marry him, became my husband. And this man took me all over the country, seeing his teachers and people he knew that were excellent, alternative care doctors or medical doctors or whoever. So we flew, here, there, almost every state in the country. And they all pretty much had the same thing. There's no reason, after x-rays and MRIs and reviewing my history, they could not find a reason I couldn't walk. So I told Dr. Vincent this, and I was telling him what happened. And then I told him what I told all the doctors I saw as a footnote after I told them about the 1993 accident. I told them, I said, also at the age of 6, I was hit by a car coming home from school. Buick was having a shift change. So it was a lot of cars, and I stood on the corner and I waited. And I waited because I knew I had to wait for the light to change and cars to start coming. And I waited. But a car full of men pulled up to the corner. I was waiting to cross. There was no crossing guard. And the driver waved me across the street. Well, he's an adult, so I figured he knows what he's talking about. So I took off running. And the car in the fast lane, the next lane over, I ran right in front of this car. And he didn't see me, I didn't see him. And he hit me and drug me a block, stopped a block away in front of a funeral home. And the next time I woke up was 2 weeks later. I'd been in a coma for 2 weeks. And they did not expect me to live. They really did not expect me to come out of that coma. They were surprised I was still alive in a coma after that hit. And when I woke up, I had a cast on my body from my left shoulder to my left ankle. And I asked my mother, I'm like, why? What is this? My mother worked in the hospital, in the lab, and she explained to me what happened and that I needed it on because my bones were crushed, my arm was broke, my leg, my hip, everything was damaged, and that I had to have it on to help me heal. And I was like, no, I don't need it on. I don't need it. I begged and pleaded for her to have the doctor take it off. And she kept telling me, no, the doctor says you need it. He told her, he said, she's only had it on 2 weeks. She needs to have it on at least another 10 weeks because her bones were, pretty much mush. And I begged and pleaded with my mother. They moved me to a room, and all the nurses and anybody would come in my room. I'd beg and plead and cry. And finally, my mother put her foot down, told the doctor, take it off. She doesn't need it. She doesn't want it. And he thought she was nuts. Well, he took it off, and I was completely healed. My bones were healed. There was nothing wrong with me. I was running around the hospital like nothing happened. And all the nurses said, there goes the miracle baby. And I would say, I'm no baby. I didn't understand what miracle meant, but, I knew I wasn't a baby. At least I didn't think I was. So I told Dr. Vincent that. So he muscle tested me. He used a surrogate. The strong, young, healthy young man held my wrist and Dr. Vincent muscle tested him. Everything was strong. Everything tested strong, no matter where he touched it on his body or touched me and muscle tested him, he was strong. And Dr. Vincent did some cranial work on me, and he asked me, where's the pain? Where's the pain? I said, I don't have pain. And I never had pain, really, after my husband made the adjustments with my neck and low back, because I did have pain after the accident. From that point on, I never had pain. Dr. Vincent did some work on my feet, and he kept asking, where's the pain? Where's the pain? I said, I don't have pain. So then he had 4 gentlemen get me out of my chair, my wheelchair, and put me on his table. And as soon as they laid me on the table, Dr. Vincent swiped my brain toward my heart and said, 6 years old. As soon as he did that, my body lit up. I was in pain from head to toe, the way I was the morning after the accident. And I had not had that kind of pain in 28 years. It had been 28 years. And everything was lit up. You know, he touched my head. I begged him. I said, no, no, no. It hurt. It was tender. It was sore. He touched my foot. I thought I was going to kick him in the mouth because the pain shot up my leg from my foot, and I couldn't take it. So he had the gentleman hold my wrist again, and he muscle tested me again. Everything went weak. Everything went weak. It was amazing. If I wasn't laying on that table, I wouldn't have believed it myself, but I experienced it. And, you know, he said that the memories, when the 1993 accident woke up the memories of the 1960 accident. And I didn't understand it. Anyway, Dr. Vincent proceeded to do what he calls his Enoch treatment on me. And I was out. I mean, it was just, I don't know, I went to sleep, or I don't know what happened. I went out, and when I woke up again, and I didn't even know how long it had been, the pain had subsided. You know, it wasn't as painful, but there was still sensations running through my body. It was unbelievable. So that was a Saturday. So that Monday, Dr. Vincent called me, and he said, well, where did you grow up when you were hit by a car? And I told him Flint, Michigan, because, you know, he didn't know I was from Flint. I didn't know he was from Flint. Come to find out, he lives in Flint, Michigan, grew up on the very corner, near the very corner I was hit. He asked me, where were you hit by a car? I said, Dewey and North Street. And he said, wow, I grew up on Dewey and North Street. I still live there. He said, I know exactly what elementary school you're talking about, Parkland Elementary, and the funeral home that you were stopped in front of. He said, I could throw a stone. I could walk the area that you were hit. And I was like, what? And then he let me know that he was born 10 years after I was born in 54. He was born in 64. He graduated from the same high school I graduated from 10 years later. And we knew some of the same people. And I was just amazed. Anyway, he told me, he said, I'm going to do a treatment for you on Zoom using a young lady named Robin as a surrogate for you. And I'm like, what? He said, just be sure to be on the Zoom call. So I got on the Zoom call, and he used Robin. She laid on the table, and he took her through the being hit by the car and the dragging and I never thought about that, because I guess as soon as the car hit me, I was out, because I don't remember my skin dragging on the concrete. And I just didn't remember that. But as he was taking her through it, you know, tears came from my eyes. I mean, I felt it. I thought about it. I'm like, my God, I never thought about, you know, I was drugged on the concrete for a block under this car. And she fended the car wrapped around my lip on the left side and pulled my lip away from my face. And they stitched it together. They did a bad stitch job, but I had these ugly scars on my face above my lip on the left side, you know, from that point on, you know, and I get teased about it. And I just thought I was the ugliest person in the world, because I had these scars on my face. Nobody else had scars on their face. So I was so shocked when he asked me that. And so I told him, and he said, Well, he said there's an ancestral connection because your great, 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 great grandmother in 1857 was drugged by her mouth by a horse and buggy. And I was like, what? And I didn't know what to do with that. And, he's telling me that and putting his shoes on and going to get something to eat. And I was like, wow. So I'm just dumbfounded. And Robin is out cold on this table. So the next morning I woke up. I wake up early, 4:30 every morning. I'm going through my morning prayers and affirmations. And then I noticed my body was hot. And there was a very intense sensation throughout my whole body, especially my lower body, and I'm like, okay. I feel these tingling and heat and sensations. And I said, well, he told me I would feel something, but I didn't expect to, but I was a believer then. And then the left side of my face started to twitch. I've never had a twitch in my life. I mean, I've been healthy all my life. And my husband, who was a chiropractor, I worked in his office, and I've had, we've had patients who've had twitches and Bell's palsy and different, but I've never had a twitch. So I had to touch it because I could feel it. But then when I touched it with my right hand, I could feel my jaw jumping, my eye jumping, my lip. And I was just amazed. I'm like, my God, what is going on? And I can truly say that from that point on, that was the early part of October of 2021, Dr. Vincent has been the first and only doctor to help get my body to begin to wake up. I mean, I've seen over 400 doctors. Over 400 doctors. I saw Dr. Sadie before I got married. I went to a seminar he was in. I spoke with him. He examined me. He recommended some supplements for me, which I couldn't afford because I wasn't married, I wasn't working, but I eventually got them. And I was paying over $700 a month for almost a year, and I never got any results. And I was so hopeful. I saw Dr. Sadie, Dr. Wallach again, talked to him, followed his recommendations for supplements. I saw Dr. Puklam. She had met with her. I was at one of her seminars, met with her, had a one-on-one with her, and she made some recommendations. I saw Dr. Carrick. Dr. Carrick is world renowned for waking up coma patients in Europe. They allow him to talk to the families, and if the quality of life is good, he wakes up coma patients. And I've been to Mayo Clinic. I've been, like I said, I saw even more Chinese herbs. Chinese herbs. I did Chinese herbs. I did acupuncturists, acupressurists. I've seen doctors in San Diego, all up and down California's coast, Colorado, Mesa, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Idaho, Iowa. I've been everywhere, Florida, everywhere. Wyoming, almost every state in the union, with hotel, with airline flights, rental cars, hotel fees, doctor's fees, rental cars. My husband, I've spent over $1 million with my husband. My husband's money, of our money over the years. And they all said the same thing. There's no reason you should not be walking. Blood tests come back normal. Everything's normal. I don't have any other issues other than I can't walk. So I am just so grateful for Dr. Vincent. My body is still waking up. I get sensations. He's still doing remote treatments on me. And it's just amazing the way my body is coming alive. And I'm just so grateful. I say this man was born 10 years after I was to help me heal my body this many years later. And I'm just so grateful to be in acquaintance of him, to be in his tribe. And I truly believe he's going to be the one that helps me kick this chair to the curb and donate it to someone else, because I'm not going to need it.
Hello, my name is Patricia Stevens Johnson. I'm Ohio, North Carolina. I'm going to give my testimonial on my blood pressure. I met Dr. Michael Vincent in Ohio in February of 2022. I also met him again in March. But in April, on April 20th, 2022, I had to call him up because my blood pressure had started going up it started off with 238, then it went to 258. Then when it got to 271, that's when I called him. And he told him, oh, that's stroke and heart attack. You better go to the hospital. Then he said, okay, do you got any of the products? And I said, yes, I have the products and they're down at the mailbox. So I sent my granddaughter, Aubrey, to the mailbox to get the products, and we opened it up and I got the bottle out that was a detox bottle. He told me to take the cap full of that, which was about 1.5 ounces, I believe. And then I did the balance, which is 1.5 ounces. And then the other product was Phyto powder, and I took a cup of that and I drank it. And then he told me to wait a few minutes. So which I did, which a few minutes ended up being to about almost 5 minutes. So my blood pressure from 271 went down to 196. My granddaughter, Aubrey, she took my blood pressure. Then I didn't trust her. Then I took it also. And it was still the same. The ambulance came and they took my blood pressure. It was still 196. So then they said I needed to go to the hospital, which I did. And his methods on the tapping and telling me what to do lowered my blood pressure from 271 to 196 in 5 minutes, because I was at stroke and heart attack level right there then. So after that, we got to the hospital, and they rushed me into the room with a lot of doctors and several doctors and the nurses, and they got me on the table, and they proceeded to do EKG and what else they do? My blood pressure, of course, and my blood pressure had went down 165 from what I've taken from Dr. Michael Vincent, the products that he suggested that I take. Okay, so it was down to 165, probably an hour after I was there. It was still 196 once I arrived to the hospital. Then it went down some more. Then by the time they let me leave at 5, it was about 5:40 morning, it went down to, 150. So then they released me. But the products, the Go Life products and the Balance products, it was a lifesaver. And this needs to go worldwide, known that this will help you and it save a lot of people's lives also, I believe. And the Go Life gut product, it was excellent. Cleans you out very good. And the time that I was there, my blood pressure machine was the smart heart monitor machine. So I had the doctor take a look at it to make sure that it was correct, and they told me it was. So I was happy about that, to make sure that that was the correct reading. So that made me happy to know that, I wasn't making a mistake, or nobody else. So my monitor was right. I took pictures also. From that, I stayed there, and then Dr. Michael Vincent, he continuously called me around 15 times. He was just adamant of calling me. He started calling me at 12:49, 1:56, 2:26. I got the times down here, 2:42, 4:40, and he was so worried, and he told me everybody else was worried. But I just want you to know that I was, you said everybody was worried about me, and Dr. Michael Vincent, I called him the miracle person, and he's the best person in the world. And everybody needs to get these products, because the products worked, and the tapping and the frequency through the phone was the greatest help. He's helped me so much, and I love him, and I'm very grateful and thankful that he saved my life, because I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for him doing the procedure, because those folks didn't really do nothing. Thank you very much, and thank you, world. And I love you, and everybody in the world, you better get on these products.